Okay, call instruction committee to order. The first item is approval of the June 17th minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any corrections? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries. Item 2 is field trips. Now, I noticed there's a field trip out of state, and we had some discussion about that, going out of state with yeah,
So this field trip was actually approved before you had your discussion.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the drum corps that goes to to Lawrence, Mass.
Mhm.
And when I talked to Kyle about it, he said that we would treat it like an athletic event and have the parents sign off on the forms, but we can certainly revisit that based on the plan.
Yeah, they already went.
Oh, they already went,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm
Okay.
just wondering how, I don't know if that's one we hadn't thought about, but
Yeah.
if we have others similar, how do we treat it? I'm just wondering. Go ahead, Tom.
You have, I think, if I know, I'm pretty sure it's happening, the seniors who are having their prom in October or November-ish are supposed to have it in Maine.
Oh,
So I think that's something that'll have to be
Yep.
talked about and considered.
absolutely.
Yeah, there should be some mechanism for it, looking at those at least,
Yeah.
if not on a case-by-case basis or some policy.
Just over the border?
Yeah, it's like in
Yeah.
Elliott, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in one of the, I think like a catering hall or something like that.
Okay, MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. What do you-
So what this is, and there's a PowerPoint in there of the work that they did, but the new law, the new discipline law that went into effect July 1 requires a multi-tiered system of support for behavior intervention. And what that means is that when you're doing the reteaching, every time something happens, you provide an intervention to teach the student that, this isn't the appropriate way to respond. And you build a database of the interventions that you provide to students so that if it does elevate to a suspension out of school, you can point to the steps that have been taken prior to that. If it is an egregious offense that is an immediate so someone is injured, then you would develop an intervention plan for during their time out of school that's with the student and their guardians and their parents on how they're going to reflect on their behavior and then come back and make restitution for their behavior. So there's a PowerPoint in here. They did a lot of work. They were here for 3 days this summer. Every school has they have their behavioral expectations. They have a roadmap for, a tier 1, if it's a small behavior infraction, a tier 2, tier 3, where this one requires significant intervention, but they developed a system over the summer and we'll put it in place this year.
So who developed it?
There was, I want to say there was 35 teachers here.
From all levels?
Every school, yeah, and there was one administrator from every school. There was multiple teachers, interventionists, special education, central office staff, so it was quite a team, and they worked for 3 days. They'll continue their work. They actually were an MTSS team already, so they just rallied together to develop this new system, and it's graduated by the grade levels as well, so
Right.
it's different for elementary than middle and then high school.
Sarah?
Does it tie into PBIS at all? I know we have that in.
The
some
Swiss
of-
data, yes,
Yeah, the behavior.
it is very much like PBIS,
Okay,
yes.
and that's already existing in some
Yes.
schools. Now, for the tracking purposes, is there like a database that the teachers have
So-
access to?
yeah,
Make it easy?
We have multiple systems actually, so they do, assistant principals enter the behavioral infractions into the Swiss data system.
Yeah.
And then we use that to make really great reports and graphs so that teachers can see that. But we also enter it into Infinite Campus.
The teacher user will
Yes.
enter it there
Yeah.
on the student account.
And so actually Beth Pappas just developed a form for them, super easy to use. So they click on one tab, they have to check off the date, check off the time. There's a checkbox of the So it's super easy, and then it automatically populates into their contact tab as well. So
Perfect.
anyone that, so if I get a call, I can look up Matt,
Yep.
and I can see exactly what happened and when it
In all
happened.
the classes.
Yes,
Yep, all right.
it's a really nice system. She did a great job.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, next item is the professional development master plan.
This is the 5-year master plan that the Department of Education requires, and it is expiring in 2022, so we're starting to put together the committee. The plan, I read through the plan, and it won't change that much because the credentialing standards for the state haven't changed, nor have the hours that are required for recertification. So, but we're starting with the academic committee. That will be the foundation of the master plan committee, and then we'll make sure that we have all the membership that's required. You need a teacher from every level, paraprofessional, building administrator, curriculum coaches, a school board person appointed by your school board chair, community member, special ed director, Title I director, and then assistant superintendent. So we'll be recruiting and getting that committee off the ground after we begin school so that we can get working on our plan and have it submitted before it expires at the end of the school year. Want to join?
I was actually about to volunteer.
There you go.
So, I do have some questions. And one of my questions was whether or not there'd be teachers on that committee.
Yes.
And I'm glad to hear that. And just moving forward, just so you're aware, I know my school has a very similar plan. Every school has to have one. But one of the biggest restrictions that I found, at least in my discipline, being history, one of the easiest ways and probably one of the most significant ways to learn more about history is to read. And my local district's plan, I'm limited to 10 hours of books. And that's a book, 2 books in 1 year. And it's like, well, what about the other 4 or 5 that I'm reading? And I can't get credit for it. And it's a shame because that's where I'm learning and I can't get credit for it.
Can you call it action research?
Possibly I'll have to investigate, but
Yeah.
chances are my administration will reject it, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
it might be worth me investigating.
Worth a shot. Action research, I think, is just such a phenomenal way to do professional development. Just diving into something, so yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
I can
tip.
help you with that if you want.
I had a question about I know that this is our current plan and that they're going to be working on the next plan. If you look at page 4, which is the summary of the assessments across the grade levels
Yes.
on page 4. So Smarter Balanced is now the
Yep,
statewide assessment system, SAS.
and there's no pace.
And, oh, there is
No.
no longer PACE?
Yeah, they didn't meet their, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna try to resurrect it, but they did not meet their, what was it called? I should know because I used to write it, but it's a report basically to the federal government to show that it's a comparable assessment and it didn't meet the requirements the last time around. So we did reach out to Melissa White, who's the administrator for statewide assessments, and the only response was that there was no PACE this year, so, and there was none last year. So I don't know if that will come back around, but everyone participates now in the New Hampshire SAS.
Okay, so that's grade
So that,
5,
yeah,
8, well, 5, well,
it's 2 through 8 and 11.
and then science is grade 5 and 7. No,
5,
grade
8,
5,
11.
8, and 11.
Yes.
Okay, so that'll all be updated then
Yes.
with the SAS. Okay,
You got it.
thank you. I was
Any other questions, comments? Okay, number 5 is the 5-year plan.
So one of the things that we talked about was having the people that participated in professional development over the summer come and talk with the group. So we don't have anyone tonight because they're at their administrative retreat, the principals are. But in September, Maple will come and share with you the work that they did over the summer on project-based learning and scheduling.
Right. No, it's okay. Any public comment? I don't see any public. Any other? Yeah,
One thing, it came up earlier when we were talking about field trips. I know Tommy mentioned there's an outside event. If we're gonna have a reopening plan, say New Hampshire only, we need to put up, I think we need, if you could bring to Kyle, a process in which
You can appeal
Bob was
that.
saying, appeal that, because
Mhm.
already we're not following a reopening plan. And that inconsistency is not something, so we gotta build something in there or state something different.
Yeah.
And then the next board meeting, obviously, if it's November, we have time. to-
Would you consider the prom a field trip?
Well, it's
It's-
off
sports
school
were
grounds.
part
of
The
it.
extracurricular
Yeah.
school
So
event.
Event.
So
It's-
we'll call it, I like that, school event,
Mhm.
yeah.
So just be all school events,
That
what's
are
the
outside of-
process outside of New
School
Hampshire?
Outside.
sponsored events?
Yeah.
School
Yeah,
sponsored events,
essentially.
yeah, even better,
School
yeah.
sponsored event.
Good, good, all right, so I'll.
So we just
I'll
don't
look
sponsor
into
them.
Got it.
Problem solved.
But to
Parents
be
will
fair, it was only last Thursday that the plan was, that part of the plan was introduced.
Yeah.
So this was prior to that.
Well, it's funny,
Yeah,
my son's girlfriend,
Went on that,
the minute I got home from the board meeting, she's like, you guys approved the plan, but you already said we could have our prom in Maine. And I'm like, all right, let's,
We'll
let's,
figure
we'll
it
work
out.
through it,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't jump yet.
yeah, we can figure that out,
So obviously, something like that, it's right at the border.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
regional situation.
it's certainly, it's something that's,
And that's the question is,
yeah,
are views different if it's in Brattleboro or Vermont versus LA?
mhm. Or Boston, Massachusetts,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
So I would say that there has to be some type of process
Mhm.
and guidelines in which we're gonna follow for
Yeah.
consistency.
absolutely.
So we don't have another like golf tournament situation.
But we also leave it to the discretion of the superintendent too. which is
Correct.
what we said then in the spring.
Yeah, so if that's how we're gonna do it, that's fine. We need something.
I think we should give him the authority.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, because
Make that
we
initial
did it at the end of
decision,
the
if they want to
spring.
appeal it or something, they can come to the
Yep.
board there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
We
in
can-
there, we're fine.
I mean, that's an easy caveat to add into the plan. I mean, we knew that it was gonna be a
Yeah,
ongoing,
Working on it.
you're probably gonna come up with, probably every time we meet, we're gonna have something, well, we didn't think of this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, so I'm
At
glad
the
you brought that up.
discretion of the superintendent.
Yeah,
Fine.
all right.
Anything else under other? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned.
That's